So we see that the Louisville police are absolutely out of control. They don't care about truth or justice. They don't care about any type of doing what's right and protecting and serving the American people to protect life, liberty, and limb. That's not why they're out here. They're only here to oppress. They're here to defend the politicians, to defend their own families, and to defend the bankers and the corporate establishment. They don't care about justice. They don't give a shit about justice. And each one of these incidents that I've spoke about just switch it around. So Mackenzie Mattingly murders Michael Newby for a drug deal gone bad. Well, a drug deal gone bad implies that there's some sort of contract and that there is a breach of contract. Well, for a contract to happen, there has to be two parties. There's got to be two individuals that agreed to that contract. So bad deal, drug gone bad is both of them are responsible for a bad drug deal, a drug deal gone bad. And so for that justification, Michael Newby could have shot Mackenzie Mattingly for the same reason. It was a drug deal gone bad, right? He was offering him heroin, he shot him in the back, and that's just how it is. Would there have been an indictment? Would there have been a fight? Would anybody have said anything about that? And Michael Newby's mother gets paid $250,000, but that was after Mackenzie Mattingly, a jury actually frees him. So he did go through the process, and then once the jury they acquitted him of all wrongdoing, then he sues the police department to try to get his job back, and then the police end up giving him a settlement. They pay him, I don't know how much money, maybe $140,000 or I don't know. They give him a chunk of money just to just walk away, just get out of here. And so that's what happens. If you murder a man, you get paid, right? If you're LMPD and you murder an innocent man and then you can get away with it later on, you'll get paid. And how does a jury acquit somebody like this? I mean, just straight up murdered a person. If justice, you just switch it around. If Michael Newby was plain clothes, he could very well have been a police officer, and just because a person is plain clothes and they say, hey, I'm a police officer, does that mean they are? That's not enough just to say that. Anybody, I'm a cop, I'm a police officer. That's easy. I saw this Roman Atwood, he was going around asking to buy drugs, and then he would just, pretend on his fucking thing, ooh, I got him, and he's just like talking to his sleeve or whatever, and then people just take off running, and, they're like all nervous about the shit, but it just shows you the threat of, the possibility that anybody could be the police, anybody could be, plain clothes, and that's, we're supposed to be scared and nervous of anybody coming around for any apparent reason. Anybody can just pull a gun out and start ordering you to do this and to do that, and then if they say they're police, we're just supposed to take their word on it. That's bullshit. There's no way you could tell somebody if they're plain clothes police officers. There's no way you could tell if they're just some random thug, just some random white psychopath, some fucking white trash piece of shit, just wants to fuck you up, just wants to fight, right? Just wants to go around looking for a fight. They're drunk, and they just want to hurt you. There's no way to tell. They just jump out with their guns drawn. You're just supposed to listen to anybody that jumps out of a vehicle with plain clothes on. And no, they have to be very clear. We're the police. This is what's going to happen. We're coming in. And, and that's how it goes on. Of course, in a wartime, you want the element of surprise, but this isn't unless there's a war against us, the people, and that sounds most plausible. Joel Casey, he says over the, after he just beats me up, he about runs into me, cusses me out, and then kicks my ass, gives me $28,000 in medical bills. After he does that, he radios to the dispatcher, oh, I just beat one of them up. One of them just starts swinging on me, and then I beat him up. One of them. Who's one of them? He's a police officer, so who does he mean by one of them? It's one of those white men, one of those, South Louisvillians, one of those what? One of those people. One of the people in Louisville. That's what he said. Okay? So Joe Casey said one of them just swung on me. One of the people, one of the Louisvillians just started swinging on him for no apparent reason, right? So he's acting like, he's me. He's acting like he's just walking down the street and minding his own goddamn business, and then all of a sudden he's being attacked. And it was the exact opposite. I minded my own business, and I was just attacked. So one of them attacked me. One of those bad guys attacked me. And that's what he tried to say, well, one of them, one of the people, one of the Louisvillians. So I don't think it's that big of a stretch to think that they have a sort of military mindset when it comes to oppressing the American people, especially if they had been ex-military. So they're used to just, treating the Iraqis like shit, treating the Afghanis like shit, we're the boss here. We got the guns. You do as the fuck as we say. And but that's a war. That's a war. This is a war here. And with the way prison rates are going up, with the way police brutality is, with the amount of bullshit, fucking nonsense that Crime Times is reporting, they just keep on every week or every 2 weeks you have a whole set, a whole another thousand or hundreds of new cases, right? And just let's look at Lexington. In Lexington, they arrested the same man. He goes by the hardest working man in show business. I'm black and I'm proud. James Brown. So James Brown, he goes by James Brown, and so they arrested James Brown over 1,500 times. That's money for courts, that's money for judges, that's money for lawyers, that's money for the whole system. I heard this actually, every time someone goes to jail, that's $3,000 or $4,000. Anytime you have a jury trial, that's $20,000. So every time you arrest somebody, there's $4,000. You're telling me $4,000 times by 1,500, 4,000 times by 1,500. That's several million dollars. You're telling me that several million dollars wouldn't have helped Leon Bracken's life out, but we don't invest our money that way. That's not how Kentucky does it. The way Kentucky invests the money is they put more money into the police and just keep on beating more people up. They ain't trying to solve the situation. They're not trying to make people, if they're sick, better people. All they're trying to do is just give them punitive punishment, hit them over the head over and over again. But after 1,500 times, man, if we started arresting James Brown today, every day, it would take nearly 5 years to arrest him 1,500 times. So they've been arresting this guy basically every day for 5 years, And at no point did anybody say, hey, let's invest some money so this man can actually have a chance, in life. So they don't give him house, they don't give him food, they don't give him any type of hell. I mean, if all he wants to do is just drink and do nothing, like that would have been a better investment, just to pay for a little shack, pay for the beer, let him get drunk, and just stay in his own place. You don't have to be a menace to anybody. He's a homeless person, so he's just out there. No matter what he does, he's being under public scrutiny. But over $1 million, we could have, made that man's life better, and he could have maybe even turned around if we would have given him a chance and actually treated him like a person. But in Kentucky, we don't treat people like people. We throw them away. We throw them into prison and say, c'est la vie, who gives a fuck about you? And you go to prison, the guards try to molest you, you fight the guards, now you got assault charges, then you never fucking get out. You never fucking go. You never leave. It's a corrupt police system. They get away with every fucking crime. And if you don't have, anybody on the outside or no lawyers, you're fucked. There is a two-tier system with those who have lawyers and those who don't. You can get a public pretender, but the public pretender is right on their back too. They got to maintain some sort of relationship. They don't care about your innocence. They just, they're getting paid too. So that's April 21st, 2011 is when they killed Leon Brackens, and this is where Breckenridge intersects with the Watterson Expressway. So basically the Ku Klux Klan crossfire. Henry Watterson was Ku Klux Klan who killed lots of people in Fort Pillow, along with Nathan Bedford Forrest, the man who founded the Ku Klux Klan. So that's the Watterson. We named one of our expressways after a Ku Klux Klaner. And then Breckenridge was the first vice president from Kentucky who was pro-slavery. So you got one racist street, another racist street, and then that's where they stop, and then that's where he's murdered. So that's right where Watterson Breckenridge Road intersects. Leon Brackens is beaten to death by 4 unnamed white male LMPD police officers. The media pretends like they're unbiased, but when they do the stories, notice how they don't mention who the cops are. Stephan Johnson, when he did my report, he didn't get a hold of them. He didn't talk to Officer Casey or Joel Casey or Aaron Browning, but he was able to, come up with a police report. So that's all he needed, right? Somebody wrote some shit. Here's what they wrote. Must be true because they wrote it down. No, they wrote that shit after they kicked my ass to cover up their fucking crimes. They put... they maliciously prosecuted me. I had done nothing, but they knew that I had done nothing, so they tried to throw every fucking thing at me, threw the kitchen sink at me, right? Just to say, hey, he's a bastard and we don't want to get in trouble. So that's, instead of actually standing up for the truth, I just feel like a lot of things, there's this one poem that says, everything I learned from kindergarten. And in kindergarten, we're taught to cooperate with others, to share with others. If you hit somebody, you apologize to them, and you make it better, you make it right. But at no point did anybody ever care about what is right and how this should have been made better. I should have got an apology, and they should pay for my medical bills. If that was done, this case would have been closed. Like, there's nothing to fight. Like, I'm not here to try to, prosecute them or try to get them to thrown in jail like they was doing me. I just want for me to be able to go on with my life. They've stopped my entire life for over a year. They've altered my appearance. I don't even feel the same person when I go out in the public, and I'm not the same person. I don't look the same. I have, health issues and health problems. And, I can't believe some people would want to laugh at this shit, but, like, I do have, like, it's not as strong, but I mean, I do have, like, when I'm laying down, my nose is, like, the passageway isn't clear, and so, like, my nose will whistle. So, what the fuck? Well, I have to be a motherfucking freak job out here with a fucking whistling goddamn nose just because I ran into the fucking LMPD? Like, that's what's so fucking important to you all? Like, what the fuck? That's what's important to you guys? Like, that's just fucking bullshit. At no point did they ever give a fuck about what the truth or justice was, and when I am a victim of crime, they don't do shit about it, so they're not there to protect and serve us in any fucking way, shape, or form. They only will fuck up people, whoever they want to fuck up, and they'll fuck with, homeless people all day long. They'll fuck with people who allow themselves to get fucked with. And it's bullshit, man. It's like, okay. So you got Leon Brackens, and okay, so he gets beat up by 4 unnamed police officers. Nobody points out who these police officers are. So, they're so anti-violence that they start police riots, right? Yeah. They're not anti-violence. They're pro-violence. Leon Brackens hurt nobody. They leave innocent people lifeless. Sickle cell anemic, sickly, fragile old Leon Brackens. Leon Brackens was beaten to death by 4 unnamed white male LMPD officers. Leon Brackens, a Jeffersonville man from Indiana, wanted to ride a store, and so he was a helpless passenger in Rhonda Ray Sullivan in her white minivan. There's an arrest warrant for her, so they start chasing her, and then he calls 911 to tell them about what's going on. He calls 911, and he's like, oh, she's crazy, I don't know what's on, please help me, she's kidnapping me, and the cops are chasing us. And then she's like, shut up, I'm not going back, and all this other stuff. And so eventually she does pull over. His hands are up, he's got a seatbelt on, and the 4 white male so-called police officers, I mean, they ain't protecting or serving me. They don't represent me. They are beating the shit out of an old man. They're doing this in our name. This is what Louisville stands for. The government of Louisville stands for the murder of sickle cell anemic 90-pound old men. That's what they're for. They're for murdering old men. And they just want to teach them a lesson, right? They just want to teach them a lesson. Some people say, well, you did swing at them first, so therefore they should... No, the justice would be to switch it around. If a police officer is in a vehicle that's being, being against their will, and and it's on a police chase, and you have people that just come up and beat the shit out of you till you die, is that fair? If you're a cop and you're sitting in Leon Bracken's spot? That's the problem with a lot of these cases, that people just can't, see the perspective from, they just assume the cop is good and the other person is criminal, and that's just how it is no matter what. And any little tiny, bit of information justifies it, but you can't even find anything. He's not under drugs, he's not having a weapon, he committed no crime, he did nothing. So they beat the shit out of a poor helpless old man who was laying face down on the pavement. Leon Brackens was screaming and begging for his life until he passed out. And when EMS asked what they should be done about the cause of his injuries, the LMPD just fucking snorts, I don't give a fuck, make up something. What did you do? Why is he going to die? Why is this old man going to die? I don't give a fuck. Make it up. That's what the LMPD says. That's a direct quote. Make up something. So lie. They fucking lie. And you can tell they fucking lie. They deal with messaging. They do the PR fucking work. They don't give a shit about the truth. They only want to tell you just, they even said that they didn't admit to saying the cuss words. I think that should be a big fucking thing. They are lying. They are lying about cussing. Did you say a cuss word? They're like, oh no, I don't recall about that. Motherfucker, you cussed. You said get the fuck out of the road. That's what the fuck you all were doing. Your adrenaline's pumped. You tried to fucking run me over, vehicular manslaughter, and then you say get the fuck out of the road. That's acceptable? That's okay? While the LMPD were beating the shit out of a poor, helpless, sick old man who was laying face down on the pavement, Leon Brackens is just, begging for his life. Like a little child, right? Just stop. Don't hit me. What are you doing? This is incredible. And then he passes out. He suffered several broken ribs and a broken leg over the beating, and he didn't leave the hospital for 8 months. The LMPD beating left Leon Brackens permanently disabled, confined to a wheelchair. Leon Brackens never charged He wasn't ever charged with a crime. So, you know, at no point did they say he did anything wrong. They went ahead and administered justice to a person that never did anything to anybody. LMPD wasn't forthcoming with the dash cam, so they're just covering up their crimes, right? They're not pointing out the internal documents. They're just covering their shit up. I mean, this is a fucking conspiracy. This is a conspiracy. He was clearly beat up. It's on the videotape. They don't show the videotape. They're keeping all this on the hush-hush because they don't want the bad publicity. But if you got a bad cop and you don't get rid of them, that makes the entire organization bad. Y'all need to have self-correcting mechanisms, or you guys are just, y'all all covering up corrupt motherfuckers, and it ain't right.